Another battle in the ACC. This time, the Hokies take down the Tar Heels. This was a fantastic game. We're going to break this one down for you. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Slasher U. I'm your host, Christian Rao, here with my co-host, Steve Feck. We're going to break down the Virginia Tech Hokies defeating North Carolina 68-65. I mean, this game was fantastic. If you look at the end of this game and how it ended, Steve, that is, I don't even know how to explain it. I mean, UNC fouls the shooter, tied with seconds to go, and it was a 3-point shot. They drain all their free throws, and they wind up winning the game by 3. Pretty boneheaded, if you will, by a team that's in the top 25 and a team with a caliber like the Tar Heels, knowing that that they know how to play basketball. However, it just happens. Sometimes that just happens out there. I will have to admit that I really enjoyed watching Virginia Tech play basketball in this one. They looked really good. Georgia Amoore was someone who really stood out. I mean, she shot some fantastic shots throughout this basketball game that really got me excited. I mean, there was some really, really good play by Virginia Tech on both sides. The basketball was a really good one, but the Hokies are a team that they are moved up to number 7 in the nation now. We might have to really pay attention to them on both sides, the men's and the
Yep.
women's this year. The Hokies are doing some good things when it comes to basketball, Steve.
Absolutely. And then really what it boils down to is that when you call them bonehead plays, yes, that's dumb to foul somebody, and when they're behind the 3-point arc. But Virginia Tech prides itself on getting its opponents off its game. They generally play the same 8 to 9 players on a regular basis, but
Yep.
Kenny Brooks just has a knack of knowing when to bring someone in, not just to give somebody a breather, but to bring somebody in to give a different look, especially from a defensive standpoint. And he just has that magic wand this year, and everything is just falling into place for them. I mean, what cost North Carolina this game was 2 of their stars getting into foul trouble. And how do they get into foul trouble? Offensive charge calls. Now, some of them were kind of like, I can see why Tar Heel fans might be a little upset about that. But again, they knew by breaking down tape and working on it in practice, okay, you can draw these charges. You can get them, in foul trouble early, and that's exactly what happened. I mean, Kayla Ustby, I think she was in foul trouble within the first 5 minutes of the game. And
Yeah.
she had to play a little bit more tentative from there. Deja Kelly, who had a terrific game, she fouled out. So for the last couple of minutes of the fourth quarter, she wasn't available to North Carolina. So Virginia Tech was playing the Tar Heels like a violin. Well, since it's Blacksburg, we'll call it a fiddle because it's Appalachia. Maybe some really, really good bluegrass roots there, and in the Western Virginia. So we'll call it playing like a fiddle. But it really was just an all-out team effort, and I think Brooks has found something with this roster. Yes, Amoore is a great shooter. She didn't have her best
Fun.
game, but she's fun. She's not afraid to take the shots.
No.
And she's, it's not like she's a 6'1", 6'2" shooting guard. I mean, she's like 5'6", 5'7". She has no fear. And I just think that this Virginia Tech team is going to cause problems throughout ACC play. And I think they're going to, of course, they're number 7. So how many teams are you really going to surprise if they can keep this up? And I can see them keeping ranking this high, if not even a little bit higher, just because of the way that they play. Elizabeth Kitley, she's a quiet, really good inside player.
Yes,
she had 8 rebounds, she had 5 blocks, she put up 15 points, and she kept, the Lady Tar Heels inside players. She kept them off balance. I mean, they had to play hard on defense, or they would explode it. And when she was on the defensive end, she kind of limited opportunities inside, both with guards driving and trying to move the ball into the paint. So, yeah, Virginia Tech, I'm a believer.
Yeah, me too. And you look at the rest, like what they have going on this week. I mean, they don't have a break. With this ACC play, none of these teams are a walk in the park by any means. I mean, they play on Thursday, they play Virginia, who's 13-1. Now they're not ranked, but you could make the argument that they should be. And I know some
Mhm.
people have made that argument. Now, then they also play on Sunday, they play Miami, who is 8-6, but they have a very star-studded team. I mean, they spent so much money in the transfer portal, bringing in the Cavender twins, and
Yeah.
that is something that you got to pay attention to as well. On Thursday and Sunday, Virginia Tech has two very tough games. And you talk about what teams could they possibly upset? Well, I mean, the only one that's still left above them in the ACC is Notre Dame. And Notre Dame is going to be a team that we're going to see against UNC come on Sunday. And that is going to be a very good one as well. That's at 4 o'clock Eastern time on Sunday, ACC Network, Notre Dame taking on North Carolina. Before that game happens, though, on Thursday, North Carolina does take on Miami themselves. So they have another tough game in in that one against the Hurricanes. I'm a little concerned about North Carolina. They
Yes.
started off the season as number 12 in the country. They're down to 22 now. The teams that they're playing, they've lost the last three in a row against Virginia Tech. They lost against Florida State, and then they lost against Michigan. The Florida State game, we all know, we've all talked about Florida State is a better team than the rankings show. We know that about Virginia Tech. Michigan is kind of iffy right now. We don't know how we feel about Michigan. You and I are still on the fence about that one. However, they beat North Carolina, so they've lost the last three, and that's not looking good. That's not a good trend when you're heading into the meat and potatoes of your ACC schedule, and you have to take on number 4 Notre Dame, who is playing absolutely lights out in
Yes.
less than a week, Steve.
Yeah, and then I'm glad you brought that up because I had written it down. But of course, did I read it? No, but I did write it down. Yeah, I
You're
mean,
making baby steps. It's good.
yeah, 2023. Let's get the bifocal so I can read things
That's good.
better. But honestly, UNC cannot afford to now lose potentially to Miami
No.
and then lose again on Sunday. I mean, and it's not going to shock me if that happens because Miami's one of those teams that if everything comes together for them in any game, they're going to be able to beat anybody in the ACC. They're not going to be able to maybe put it up on a consistent basis, night in, night out, week in, week out.
Yeah.
But they have enough talent there, and they have probably one of the top 10 women's coaches of all time.
Mm-hmm.
So certainly I think that North Carolina has got to buckle down because they don't want to then have to go into Sunday's game being on a 4-game losing streak
Right.
because odds are they're probably would be a 5-game losing streak then at that point.
Yeah, I'm with you. And then it doesn't get any easier after that. They play UVA, they play NC State, they play Duke. It doesn't get any easier. They are going through the gauntlet conference schedule right in a losing streak. So they got to find a way to get out of that against Miami on Thursday. Exactly what they need to do. That game on Thursdays on ACC Network, 6 o'clock Eastern time. And as I mentioned before, Sunday, 4 o'clock Eastern against Notre Dame, also on ACC Network. Let us know your thoughts in the comment description below. What do you think about this Tar Heels team? Are you worried about them? Are you showing any concern? And then Virginia Tech, are you as high on them as Steve and I are? Do you believe that the ranking all the way up to number 7 is validated? Do you think they should be higher, or do you think they should be lower? Let us know your thoughts in the comment description below. As always, we will get back to you and reply to all comments as we always do here at Slasher U. So thank you for watching.